ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 3 of Back Row Banter, your new favorite casual movie podcast, casual movie talk podcast. Is that fair?
Yeah,
fair to
I
say?
think that's fair.
You can go with that.
Okay.
With the exception of one person.
We'll get to him in a second. I'm your host, Adam Schwartz. Joining me today is humble brag master's degree guy Nathaniel Gingrich.
I'm gonna keep it casual.
Keep it casual.
Keep it casual.
You're gonna tone down to that
guys.
master's
Yeah.
degree. You're gonna say, hey,
Yeah.
it's more of an associate's.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it back.
You're gonna give it back.
Yep.
Send in the mail.
Taking it off the wall.
Straight across from me in our new little setup, to Nathaniel's left is gonna be my boss, Tyler Dallas.
His boss. What's
my
going
manager. Not much.
That's true. We are in a different order this week.
on? We are in a different order.
Yeah, I figured I'd try out the different order.
All right.
I like it. I like it so far.
I'm in.
Blake's in.
And that last voice over there, that is my other buddy, BlakeHolder. Blake, how you been doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a weekend. Had a birthday yesterday, so that was fun.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
man.
birthday. Thank you.
Listeners, wish Adam a happy birthday.
His 20th. He is no longer a teenager.
I beat teen pregnancy.
There we go. That's what we like to hear.
That is exactly what
Good
I like
on
to
you.
hear. Today, for our show, we got 5 news stories for you today. It's a packed week, but we'll get through those pretty quick. There's nothing too big there. Some trailer talk. We got a teaser that we're going to talk about, new to streaming. Then our main segment for today, we are going to be reviewing the movie Arrival. I don't know, what did you just do?
That's the arrival.
Oh, okay.
Really good visual gag there.
Yeah, the visual gag for the audio podcast. And then, so do an Arrival, and then we'll close it out with some new outro ideas that we've been cooking up. Nathaniel's been cooking up over there that we'll send it over there. The reviews. That's
Yeah,
all-
I get it.
that's all
I
meant.
understood. I was
Okay.
I was letting you just hang out on that one.
Yeah, no, you looked up from your laptop really bewildered. You were like, I have new things.
Yeah, I've got ideas.
Oh,
I've
man.
got loads of stuff.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's get started on the news. Our first news story for the day. Far Cry 6 is going to get Giancarlo Esposito for the main villain. Giancarlo Esposito, I would say, famed actor from Breaking Bad. That's kind of...
I think that's where most people know
I
him
think that's where
from.
most people are from.
Yep.
He's Gus in Breaking Bad, and has had a few small roles here and there. He's in The Mandalorian in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think he's mostly known as a character actor.
Yes.
For the
Yes.
majority of audiences, but he's always really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic.
He's great.
Yeah. So he's done one other game. I was reading the article, which comes from.
Yeah, so he's going to be in the
Hollywood
game.
Reporter. He's going to be in the
This
game.
isn't like
Right.
a TV series or something like
Nope.
that.
This
Far
is
Cry.
so he is acting the
I think
game.
he's gonna be the villain.
He's the main villain.
Yeah. And they're usually pretty notorious for their villains.
Yes, so this is Far Cry 6. Far Cry has had some of the most notorious, like you said, notorious villains that people, kind of refer to or talk about in game specifically.
Now, if I remember right, Far Cry is a different story every time.
Correct.
Yeah.
So different story, different locations. So this will have a set. I'm assuming at least will not have any connections to the previous games. I think the tagline they said, or I saw in the story, is that it's a character that audiences will love to, or will hate and love, or something like that.
Okay.
So definitely something I feel like a Giancarlo Esposito role would handle, where you're.
Oh yeah, that's definitely his wheelhouse.
That's definitely his wheelhouse for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Giancarlo Esposito on how to portray villain audiences love and hate. So this was an interview. If you want to check out the article, this was an interview with Esposito regarding his him taking up the video game role. So if you want to go see that, that's on Hollywood Reporter. Next news story: the Batman TV spinoff from Matt Reeves, Terrace Winter, set at HBO. So HBO is going to be getting a Batman TV show in the same universe as the upcoming Batman by Matt Reeves and with Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Are you interested in this?
The show or the new Batman?
The show.
Yes.
I feel like I've reached Batman
Batman peak. Batman.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm thinking of
We're
the same
both-
word.
we're both- Our Batman Phil. Kind of?
Yeah. Batman saturation.
Saturation.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've reached my Batman.
It's oversaturated. Thank you.
Yeah, especially with the Snyder cut that they talked about last week.
Yeah.
You've got Gotham. You've got the Flash universe is always teasing a Batman. I don't know if Batman's actually in it yet or something.
No.
There's definitely a Batwoman, but and I mean, just with the movies too, and then this new one, like I'm very excited for the Robert Pattinson film. I really like Matt Reeves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that too.
Yeah, but I just feel like the show. I don't know if I'm in on this.
You're right. I mean, they already did Gotham, and the news story also coming from the Hollywood Reporter, saying it's going to be called Gotham Central. Which,
now that's interesting.
Yeah,
that implies that it's about the police department, and the Gotham Central is a really well-regarded comic run.
Yes, so let me read this really quick. It says, the series does not have a title, although some have been calling it Gotham Central, harkening back to the police procedural comic from writers Ed
Brubaker. Brubaker, he's very famous.
And Greg Rucka.
Greg Rucka, excuse me.
And GCPD. Either way, it would deal with police detectives working in the shadow of one very bat-like vigilante.
Well, you've turned me around on this.
All right, that was very quick.
Just like that.
Yeah, knowing if they're truly going down that route, I'll be very interested. That's a side of Gotham that I like to see. The police side of it, how they deal with these kind of kooky, crazy villains all the time.
And I think what will determine this show for me is what the new Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman, looks like. Because obviously, if that's no good, why would I want to watch a TV show? So the fact that HBO is doubling down on this already gives me some hope for the new Batman movie.
Yeah, and it looks like it's being written by a guy who also worked on Boardwalk Empire and The Sopranos, which are two, obviously amazing series. So
Terrence Winter, yeah. So I mean, I'm definitely in. But like I said, and like you said, oversaturation almost at this point on Batman. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'll give it a watch. Tyler, you're the comics guy.
I don't know. It's kind of like, because like that kind of feels like to me like The Flash, right? Like there are a lot of cops involved in that show, and they basically show you how a department deals with having a superhero around pretty consistently. He's in and out of dating multiple partners of the dad, and so it's, I don't know, it kind of seems like it's going to go that route, but I think with it having more of the backing of Batman, I think it's definitely going to be something that's at least worth a watch, especially with all the other big names that are behind it.
Yeah, I would agree. Blake, you excited for this, or are you with Nathaniel and I?
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I'm certainly down for the movie. I'm actually really anticipating that one. As far as the TV show, I'm not that big of a TV show guy in the first place.
Sure.
So I don't really have too much knowledge on Flash. I've probably maybe watched a handful of episodes just on Gotham, but off the strength of it being a Batman, I'll probably have to at least give it a look. For sure.
I mean, it's Batman oversaturation for sure, but at the same time, it's Batman. It's like there's a point where it's like I can't get enough of Batman, and I don't know. I think
I wanted to see more of Batfleck, and I don't think anybody should go anywhere until I see more Batfleck. So I'm not super hyped on the new movie.
I do like him as Bruce Wayne.
I think he was one of the best.
I do.
Yeah.
I disagree. I like him as Batman. I don't like him as Bruce Wayne.
Interesting.
But a story for another time.
A story for another episode. Our next news story: Blumhouse's Forever Purge and Halloween Kills delay release to 2021 amid
What was the last Purge movie you watched?
I have not seen any of them.
Whoa, man!
And I wanted to recently, because like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier on a previous episode, but I just recently, relatively recently.
Yeah, you mentioned you were traumatized at a young age. What was the movie that traumatized you?
It wasn't a movie. It was just a TV show, like a ghost hunting TV show that they recreated hauntings and stuff like that. That I watched in the second grade with my friend who was older than me, so he didn't give a shit.
So
he just put
was
it on.
Tyler?
It was not Tyler. If I was hanging around with Tyler in the second grade, that's a different issue. But yeah, so he was older, didn't care. He put it on, and I was just kind of chilling and watching it, and that just scared the shit out of me. And so from that point on until, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago, was not into horror.
So you're getting a little bit more into horror.
Exactly, and so the Purge, the concept of the Purge has always interested me. I've just never been interested in horror, and so since I've gotten back into it, I've wanted to check it out. I just haven't had a place to watch it.
I like the second one the best, I think. Blake, what's your take?
That's probably the best movie, I would say. The first one, the idea was on point. But it sucked. It just seemed like another home invasion movie.
Right, it was very small.
Yeah, right, exactly. So you didn't really get to
that.
see what the Purge was.
Right.
And then I think the second one, they hound on that way more. Where they got the military involved.
And they actually get stopped outside during the Purge.
Yep, absolutely. That's definitely the best one. As far as the last one I saw, man, there's probably 5 5 of those.
Yeah, I know they did. They did the first Purge and stuff. So this.
I don't think
and
I've
they
seen one.
They did a TV series.
I was
too.
gonna say. I was just gonna say.
Wow,
and there's a TV series.
I don't think I've seen one since the 3rd, maybe.
Yeah,
I think I'm right around the 3rd.
I'm much more interested in Halloween Kills, but
yeah, and it's also worth to mention that in the story they talk about Candyman, the Jordan Peele produced horror film that was set for September is now pushed back to October of this year.
Right. So the main story on this is that both Forever Purge and Halloween
Correct.
Kills,
The Blumhouse Productions ones, those two are delayed, and then they throw in that Candyman is delayed as well. It's basically a little horror delay.
Yeah,
which I'm very upset about.
Yeah, I was very interested in Candyman. Definitely very interested in Halloween Kills.
Yeah, Halloween Kills. Yeah, we just watched. We'll get to the teaser.
Candyman's one of those movies for me that I saw when I was a young kid, and it scared the shit out of me. But that's also one of the movies where it's like I was literally scared. I'm in. I want more of this.
Right. That's got really deep Chicago ties too.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
That's very much a Chicago-based film.
Which, if you don't know, we are based out of the Chicagoland area.
There you go. And
for all
Halloween
our international
Kills,
listeners.
for Halloween Kills, that's delayed a full year from 2020 release to 2020.
Yeah, but you can't release a movie called
tough.
Halloween in February.
Correct.
So.
Yeah.
So October.
Yeah. So I mean that's understandable, but also definitely sucks because waiting a full year for, Halloween sequel is gonna suck.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then I believe this is this is not our last news story. Next news story. Got 2 more for you. Ready Player One book sequel sets November publishing date. So this is not the movie sequel. This is the book sequel to the original book that the movie was based on, from Ernest Cline. The first one is my favorite book of all time. I absolutely love that book. I've read it like 3 or 4 times. And it's one of those books where once I start reading it, I have to finish it, and we'll finish it in 3 days or so. And it's decent sized book. So.
I've listened to the audiobook by Will Wheaton.
Which that's a good read actually.
Yeah, it was actually really fun.
Good listen, sorry.
Yeah, it was a good book. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's a pretty brisk read, I would say, overall. Interested in the second one. I'm kind of interested where they go. I read his other book and I wasn't super
Armada.
impressed. Yeah,
I liked it, not as nearly as much as Ready Player One, but I did enjoy it. I thought the concept was cool. Just didn't come together as well as Ready Player One. How do you feel about the movie?
I really enjoyed the movie. I felt like Spielberg was back. He kind of it felt like he kind of picked himself up a little bit. He was still able to do these big, huge visuals. Spielberg's an odd one recently. He kind of takes one on, one off kind of thing. Yeah. And he's been doing this weird kind of cycle where he'll release 2 movies in a year, which has been interesting to watch.
The Post, and I think Ready Player One was either the same year or very soon after.
Yeah. So I think I'll be interested to see where this goes. I'll be interested to see where the sequel for the inevitable sequel for the movie goes, because I think they did enough with that.
They changed, because for those who haven't read the book but have seen the movie, they changed a lot.
They do change quite a bit in the movie. I think it was necessary to make that book fit in a 2.5 hour time period.
100%.
But it's definitely one of those ones that if you like the movie, you can definitely read the book and you'll enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I've never even read the book on that one, but I like the movie.
You like the
movie? Yeah, for sure.
It
looks good.
It was one of those movies that I think it was one of those justifiable 4K purchases. One of the first ones. When it came out on DVD or on Blu-ray.
Tyler, any thoughts on this
Not a whole lot. No. I'm interested.
Do you like the movie?
You really like the movie, though, don't you?
Yeah, I love the movie. The movie's awesome. I cannot wait for the second one.
Yeah.
The book I never really got into. My first sci-fi book was Ender's Game, which is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, sure, I'll pick it up. Maybe listen to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, the movie I'm definitely way more excited for.
They're also doing either a TV series or a film of Armada, which I think actually has a better chance of. I might like it more.
I think if they do a TV series for that could really come together.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. All right, now finally on to our last news story for today. Movie theater giants sued New Jersey over unconstitutional COVID-19 closures. To sum this up a little bit, basically New Jersey is reopening in their stage 2 or 3 process, and they're opening a bunch of stuff and saying movie theaters cannot open for some reason. So a bunch of movie chains, it looks like it's AMC, Regal, and Cinemark.
Which are all kind of the main heavy hitters.
Yeah, the main 3 heavy hitters are outside of that. You don't see a lot of, I don't think you really see a lot of big movie chains, so... but they're all suing the state of New Jersey for not letting them reopen when I believe it's places of worship can reopen and indoor malls are reopening and everything like that. And so that lawsuit's going through. I think that was filed on Monday or something like that.
Yeah, interesting take. I'm not nearly versed enough in theater law.
Yeah,
I know about bird law to be able to make much of a comment on it, but it seems an interesting take on it. From what I was reading in the article, it sounds like New Jersey hasn't quite been hit quite as bad as stuff, so there seemed to be kind of some justifiable movement behind this to get these things open. I think it's interesting. It seems to be that they kind of have an agreement that almost everyone's going to kind of reopen up with the new Christopher Nolan movie, Tenet. I'm
Pronounce that.
Yeah,
Tenet?
Tenet.
No, it's just that was a very strange pronunciation.
Yeah, well, Tenet sounds like Tennant, like
David
a Tennant farmer.
Well, I feel like
David Tennant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks like Tenet to me.
Yes,
but
agreed.
hey,
Sure.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan can call it whatever he wants. He makes way more money than I do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting that they're going this route, but if it gets people back into theaters, I'm all for it. I love movies.
Yeah. I want to get back to theaters as soon as possible.
Yeah, I feel like this is a fair argument.
Mhm.
I think movie theater is just as easy to mitigate how many people are in there and how far you are away from them as almost everything else.
As a
Yeah,
mall.
and especially
not more.
with a lot of movie theaters now, so you can't even really just walk in and purchase a ticket. Like you'll pick your seat out and stuff.
Yeah,
ahead of
everybody.
time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying. It's
they're
very
just gonna have
easy
to
to say, every 2 chairs
Right,
you are not
you
allowed
can't
to
have
use.
something
Right,
sitting.
exactly.
And if people are wearing masks and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's just I feel like if you are gonna open indoor malls and stuff like that, barring movie theaters who want to reopen for reopening, is kind of
Yes.
kind of stupid. Yeah.
If they can do it safely, I think that's obviously the main thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you can do it safely.
And the sooner they reopen, the better chance they have of not going out of business, basically. So,
True.
yeah. All right, that's going to be it for the news section of it. But moving on to trailer talk.
New news.
New news.
New news.
Trailer talk. We got a Halloween Kills teaser, so the same movie we were talking about getting delayed a year. So I guess we'll be talking about this for the next year.
Yeah,
so.
I think they released this kind of at the same time. They were
Yeah.
saying, Halloween Kills is going to be released for 2021, but at least here's a teaser. How do you feel about the title? I don't think Halloween Kills is a particularly good title, but I don't think you can call it Halloween 2. Okay?
Yeah, I,
think
don't think you can call it really anything
they
like
should.
Halloween Revenge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Halloween Kills.
Well, what's
is,
the
think it's
what's
fine.
the 2018 one? Is it just Halloween?
It's
It's
just
called Halloween,
Halloween,
yeah.
it's Halloween.
Even though it's
Yeah.
technically a sequel,
It's a sequel to the
Halloween.
very
Right,
first
right.
one. Yeah, it's weird. Movies need to
Yeah.
figure out their shit.
Maybe they just
When it comes to
decided,
naming.
screw it, we'll call it what we'll call it, and everyone can just kind of suck it.
I think people should just start asking us what they should name their movie because we obviously have an awesome name for our podcast.
Obviously, I mean,
We are a good think tank.
Right.
are we transferring? Are we like, what do they call that? God damn it, I'm gonna forget this. term
Soliciting
already.
services.
No. Are we shifting our
Our focus.
focus? Yeah, to PR.
Possibly.
We can.
Man, 3 episodes.
Well,
should
it's
get
been,
a
it's
PR
been a good run,
It's been
guys.
a good run.
We'll see you next time. You have to pay for this now.
If you want to contact us for our PR agency, it's Back Row Banter PR at gmail.com.
Yeah, but for the name, I mean, there's so many of these movies, right? They only have so much to work with.
Yeah,
that's fair.
For
but
sure.
I think regardless of the name, I mean, obviously it's gonna bring in a lot of viewers.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about this as the self-proclaimed horror guy out of the 4 of us? How do you feel about?
I'm interested for sure. I think the 2018 one was probably one of the better remakes, I guess, if that's what you want to call
sure.
it, right? In recent years, and they pretty much got the same team coming back. The trailer or the teaser, I should say, looked good.
Yeah, it picks
Yes.
up immediately
Yeah,
after
right.
the first one
Yeah.
ends.
Which
Yeah.
we just watched, and I just noticed that they're in the same truck that they got in at the end of the last
Which
Yeah,
I,
you did
I
point
like
that
that
out,
concept a
and
lot. I
the
like
fire
it a lot.
department is on their way to the
Right.
house.
Which
that
is
they
such a
set
great
on
play.
fire.
Like, why would you think that?
Yeah.
Of course, why would you think that the house on fire
Right.
would not go unnoticed or would
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
unnoticed?
yeah,
Right.
that's true. So
Come
yeah,
on.
I like the teaser a lot. I'm excited for it. It sucks that I now have to wait another year,
Yeah.
but we'll get there eventually.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
There you go. All right, so that's going to be it for trailer talk. Moving on to the new to streaming, to Netflix. This week we got The Lorax, The Notebook, which I think is coming back because I've seen that on Netflix.
Yeah, it's been on there
very
before.
recently. Anyway, The Last Dance, that's the Jordan documentary, was on ESPN. It's now coming to Netflix. So if
Oh,
you have
wow.
not
Oh,
checked
okay.
that out, that is a 10 out of 10 documentary series, one of the
Yeah,
best
that was
documentaries
Great.
I've ever seen. I think. Has everybody seen it?
I got to like episode 6.
And how can you not watch the last one?
I wasn't subscribed to like ESPN or
Oh,
anything
okay.
like that.
Well,
so
now you got a chance.
Well, did you
to-
like it when you
Oh
were
yeah,
like,
yeah. I thought it was great.
It is fantastic. It's a must watch, I think, and if you got Netflix, now's your chance, really. And then The Old Guard, which is Charlize Theron.
Yeah, Charlize Theron's new movie.
Action movie.
Yeah, she's kind of made a renaissance as an action hero after kind of the misfire that was Aeon Flux circa 2004 or whatever. That was one of those movies that I saw. I was like, this is awesome.
Great CGI.
Yeah. There was a girl with hands on her feet. That's the only thing I remember about that movie. I'm interested in this. I'll probably give it a watch. It seems to be Netflix has kind of run out these smaller movies a lot over the last few months. You've had that Spencer Confidential, which was like the new Mark Wahlberg joint, and then there's that Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. There was another one that was called like The Last Days of American Crime, which did not really get picked up at all, but was based off a comic book, and then this one's also based off a comic book too. I've seen a little bit more advertising for this, so I'd be interested to kind of see what its numbers are.
I have seen a lot of advertising.
Not that Netflix ever releases numbers or anything, but see how this goes.
Yeah, well, I think that's why they probably put like the new rating system on Netflix, so you have a visual aid to see how many people like it.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
that was
you can
there.
thumbs up and thumbs down and stuff now, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
but yeah, I'm excited for it. She's great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll check it out if I'm.
I think the premise is something like they're all super old and immortal fighters, and they've got a new girl that they're bringing in too. So
sounds interesting. Charlize Theron, you know.
Action-y.
Yeah. Amazon Prime, Hulu, and HBO Max did not have anything worth checking out from what I saw. So if you were looking to find something on those, you can always check those lists yourself. But I didn't see anything worth mentioning.
If you see something on there that is worth mentioning, please tag at Adam. And just send all your anger towards him.
Yep.
This was not mine or Blake or Tyler's decision.
Yep.
It's all Adam.
100%.
Yes, Adam.
100%. Disney Plus, though, we got Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Which has been on Netflix.
That's
which
what
is
it was.
why
It was on
couldn't
Netflix.
put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Is the entire Star Wars suite on Netflix or Disney Plus now?
I think there might be like a few more somewhere, like they're in a weird spot or something.
Because
but
there
it's
was
gonna
only
be soon.
3. Yeah, there was only 3 that were missing when it came out, which is Last Jedi, Solo, and I believe Force Awakens.
So I think Force
latest
Awakens.
movie.
Force Awakens is on there, I think.
Yeah, I know the latest movie's on there because they released that not too long after. So yeah, they may be. We'll see. This is very interesting for the listeners.
Yeah, I'm looking on Disney Plus right now, and it looks like I can click on all of these movies.
I know they were getting their Marvels ones back too, because I know Infinity War wasn't on there for a
Yep.
while.
Yep.
So I think they got that back as well.
Yep.
So Disney's slowly collecting all of their movies that they actually own now back to their platform. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Disney Plus right now. It looks like all of them are on here. Last Jedi is the only one that was questionable. That one says I can play right now. So
Man, Disney's got a lot of stuff, man, but I still can't bring myself to go on there that much.
They said that
I don't know what it is.
their resubscriptions or their thing from Hamilton alone was like the biggest they've seen since
I
launch.
believe it.
Basically.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
I went on it a lot at launch to rewatch Star Wars and stuff.
Well, yeah,
for
because
Rise
you
of
guys are the
Skywalker.
Star Wars guys.
It is a massive library.
Oh, it's huge, but it's not a lot of new stuff that is like.
Yeah, there was
super
definitely
hard-hitting.
like the first 2 or 3 weeks where I was like, oh, these are great nostalgia ones from childhood.
Exactly, it was
and
a lot of
threw those on
nostalgia
there.
kick for about 3 weeks for me, and then after that, I was just like,
But-
I would rather watch new things.
None of us have kids, so I bet
That is
people
true.
that do have
I'm
kids
100%, yeah.
are just wearing
Again,
that thing out.
I did beat teen pregnancy, so here we are,
True.
just watching Star Wars in 4K. Yay! And then our last little honorable mention to streaming is we added Apple TV Plus for I think just this week. I don't think we'll make that a regular thing because there's not a lot coming to Apple TV Plus.
We'll see. Balls in your court.
We'll
Apple
see.
TV
Yeah.
Plus.
Come on,
Keep us
come
interested.
On, Tim. Come on, Tim. Throw some bones at us. Greyhound is coming to Apple TV Plus, or is already on Apple TV Plus.
That's the Tom Hanks one?
So that's gonna be Tom Hanks. It's World War II. It is a battleship v submarine U-boat action movie.
Yeah, so I know I'm
The trailer looks
interested.
good.
Yeah, the trailer looked interesting. I'm. You got to get me excited about a war film. I've seen so
That's what
many.
you've been
so
saying.
This is another one of those oversaturated markets, especially
Yes,
right now.
particularly World
Yes.
War II films. It feels like
The last few years we had Dunkirk in 1917. And
Midway.
Yeah,
like
Midway.
there's just been a ton of them, and I feel especially Tom Hanks kind of returning to it after Saving Private
Yeah,
Ryan.
and Tom Hanks did the screenplay for it, which I think is pretty
Right,
interesting.
he's
for
doing a
World War
writing.
II movie.
Yeah, he's taking a writing credit on this one. I'm not familiar with the director. I'd have to look at it more. It's something we've been talking about a little bit more too. That it's very clear that they filmed this on pretty limited sets. And I think they're all on sets for the most part. There may be a few outdoor shots.
Yeah.
But most of the exteriors and most of the battle scenes look to mostly be CGI, which is, again, kind of the way these streaming companies are going. So I'm very interested in that. There were a couple shots that I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Tom Hanks seems to be doing a little bit of his Captain Phillips.
Yes,
vibe
I got a little
again.
bit of the same vibe there too.
But yeah, I mean, give it a watch. I think we kind of decided that we were going to be.
Yeah,
taking
we
a
can
look
talk
at
about
this.
that now. I think we're gonna do Greyhound for a movie next week.
Yeah.
For episode episode 4.
Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
on
so-
Apple TV Plus, folks.
Snag a free trial like I will be doing.
Watch it with the
I think if
What
you
is
recently
their
purchased an Apple device, you have a free
for a
trial
year.
as well.
Yes, you have it they give it to you for a year, but I have every Apple device, but have not purchased it anytime recently, so I don't have that.
Yeah, I think I
unfortunately.
might have gotten one off my new phone. Or
You
something like
probably
that.
did.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Why would you want an Apple device?
This
They
is a
taste
debate for
good.
another podcast.
Yeah,
I'm not getting
well,
into this
yeah.
right now. That was some bait right there.
Yeah,
Ty.
that's
I
just
will
me
not be-
being
I will
devil's
not be
advocate.
taking that bait. All right, moving on. That's it for the news. We're moving on really quick to what we're watching. So, what are we watching, guys? Blake and Ty, like we've said before, your what we're watching are kind of paired together. What do you guys
Nathaniel
want
and
to?
Ty.
Sorry, what
You
did I
said
say?
Blake and Ty.
Blake and Ty. I'm sorry, Nathaniel and Ty.
I don't live here as well.
In recent news.
Just for what I'm watching, then, I mean, so today, ironically, I saw it was the 1-year anniversary of Crawl.
Oh,
Came
yeah.
out,
Oh,
and-
okay.
and you actually told me to watch that, yeah. So, and that's on Hulu. So I watched that today.
I really like that movie.
Yeah, it was, and it still
Great
kind
movie.
of stood well for the second time.
Yeah.
And I know what's gonna happen, but it's pretty intense.
If you haven't seen Crawl, it's about an infestation of alligators in Florida.
Yeah,
That's
during a
trapped,
hurricane.
during a hurricane that's trapped a girl and her dad in their basement.
I remember seeing the
basically.
trailer for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really interesting.
It's really if like
It's just-
Sharknado was wrote way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a perfect B movie. Like it's a
Without a doubt.
creature feature. It's just solid. And
Yeah.
it's well acted. It's tight. It's
Do we know what that's streaming on right now?
Hulu.
Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hulu, and I think it might be on Amazon Prime as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, that might be the
But yeah, that's really the last thing I watched. Just because it was the 1-year anniversary. What about
sure,
you guys?
sure. Yeah, Tyler and Nathaniel.
Yeah, I mean, we've continued our rewatch of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
How many seasons of that are there?
There's just one.
Just one?
Yeah,
But it's
20
a lot of episodes.
26 episodes.
Okay.
They're all about 20 to 23
Sure, yeah,
minutes, and then at the
typical.
end there is a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's
that-
what the movie. That's kind of dope.
Yeah, and it's about an hour and a half or 2
Sure.
hours or so. But yeah, we definitely kept
Were you
that.
guys on that rewatch?
I think we're episode like 15, 16, somewhere
Something
in
like
there.
that, yeah.
Which is really when it kind of starts to kick up
Yeah.
a lot of bit. So we're pretty in on that. We've been still doing a little bit of Korra, and then mostly just watching the movies for our main segment and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a big Fight Island.
Yesterday was Fight Island.
So
What's
there's
Fight Island? I'm
Fight-
not
All you
familiar.
UFC lovers out there.
Oh,
yeah.
Dana White essentially bought or had an island
Uh-huh.
in Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
and he basically built a giant fighting
Octagon. Ring.
octagon
Yeah.
arena,
Mecca.
just so they could fly the fighters there and fight.
Damn.
And it's called Fight Island.
It's pretty great.
That,
Pretty great. So
does
that
sound
occupied
cool,
7
actually,
hours.
I'm not gonna lie.
That occupied 7 hours of my time yesterday.
Okay. Quite the Saturday.
Yeah, so that was what I was watching.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot, actually. I watched Toy Story 4 for the first time.
Great.
I absolutely loved it.
Wow.
Moana for the first time. Did not like
Wow,
that nearly as
wow.
much, but I thought it was pretty solid.
I like Moana.
You're showing your
Moana's
age with that
great.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and then finished sort of online,
Okay.
Awesome.
which loved the rewatch. They're basically split into, it's kind of 4 seasons, but there's technically 2 where each season is like, there's a different storyline halfway through the
Yeah,
season.
that really threw me for a loop the first time.
yeah,
that
essentially, if
happened.
you haven't watched it, there's one season.
There's so about 26
but
episodes
about
a season.
20 or episodes
13
it ends, and then you go into
per
what's called
storyline.
Elbenheim,
Yep.
and that's technically the second
Yeah.
season.
So the last fourth is they go back to Alfheim, which is one of the 3 games that they play in, and it's just that was not for me, but I did watch all of that. But everything else I loved, and I loved rewatching it. It was a good time. And then I started Avatar:
Oh, Last Airbender.
The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Yeah, you should
Where are
probably
you
should.
at on that? 'Cause is this your
and
first
then-
watch?
This is my first watch.
Okay, because this is gonna excite me for a lot. I need you to call me every time.
Okay, I will. I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
I am about 4 episodes in. It's one of those shows I put on as I'm falling asleep, so I I've watched it for like 3 or 4 nights in a row, and I'm on like episode 4 or 5.
So you're not quite where it really starts to kick into gear yet. It's still kind of a kid's show.
Oh, it's still kind of a kid's show.
Yeah.
Aang is very
naive.
Yeah, they're all kind of. It's very kid's show, and I can see how this can be very, very good. But right now, I'm still.
I would say
trying to
that
get
one
around that.
really kicks on about the middle of season 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is when
So
you really start to
I'm
get
gonna give it a
invested.
chance. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not quitting out on it anytime soon. But it definitely does feel like a kid show as of now. And the animation is a lot older than I thought it was gonna be.
I found that the Netflix stream of it was a little bit lower quality than I was expecting.
Well,
I'm
they
watching
just
it in HD.
re-upped it to HD because when it was
really?
originally put on Netflix, it
It's
was
just
not in
standard.
HD.
So when we watched it,
It was not in
720.
Right.
Yeah, so
correct.
I'm watching it in HD
Yeah.
now on my OLED, and then it's just it's not where I.
Which I was actually okay with because that's how I grew up watching it.
Yeah,
So
I can't
I
be
thought
too
it was
mad at
cool.
it,
If
but
you
it's
want
like
physical copies, I have Blu-rays.
I might hit you up for those.
Yeah.
But it's like coming off of Sword Art Online, which was 2014, beautifully animated, looks
Sure.
fantastic
Yeah,
on my OLED.
probably one of the best animes that'll
Yeah.
be done in history.
Yeah, and then I just go to Avatar, and it's just like very monochromatic
Yeah.
almost.
Yep.
So it's been an adjustment. but-
It does change in between seasons.
Oh yeah,
too.
I figured. I'm sure it was just like season 1 lower budget, and then they get to season
Definitely.
2
Yep.
and 3, and I'm sure Legend of Korra looks good too. So
Legend of Korra looks really
yeah,
good.
and then the last thing that I watched that I really wanted to bring up is it was unfortunate timing because we recorded our top 10 list Sunday night, and then Monday night I watched Blind Spotting, and it has made it onto my top 10 list.
Which
Just
it's
like
not a
that.
film I've heard of.
So it's a
me
smaller
neither.
film for sure, and you can tell while watching it, it's definitely on a smaller budget because a lot of the scenes are filmed in the same spots repeatedly, and just the cinematography of it. It's definitely a lower budget looking film. I think
Yeah.
it came out in 2017.
From what I'm seeing, it's 2018, probably filmed in 2017 or might have
Yes,
got
so
to some
2018,
film festivals.
2017. Yes, 2018 is when it came out. That is with David Diggs and his best friend Raphael
Casal, it
Casal.
looks.
Yes. So David Diggs is from Hamilton. He plays Thomas Jefferson and Lafayette. And we talked about before, I love Hamilton, but that's not necessarily the reason I was watching this. But
Bias.
sure, I mean a little bit, but I think the movie was fantastic. I loved how it was shot. There's great music. The storytelling was great, and just the overall theme and message of the film that the film was trying to portray was very timely for. I mean, it came out in 2018, but this movie applies even more, I think, in 2020 than it did back then.
Could you give us like a 3-sentence premise?
It's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's David Diggs, his character. I mean, this movie starts out this way, so I'm not really spoiling anything. He starts out. The movie takes place over his last 3 days, and then the day he gets off parole. So it takes over. It's 4 days. This movie opens with him getting a sentence. It skips a year to when he gets. It opens with him getting out of jail, getting his 1-year probation, and then it goes 3 days left until off of probation. So it follows his last 4 days
It's
of
a,
him trying to get off of probation and not get into trouble.
It's a one last job movie.
Sort of.
Or the detective the day before he's supposed to retire always catches the horrific case.
Yes and no. That's where I thought it was going.
Uh-huh.
And they kind of play with that a little bit, where they keep putting him in these scenarios
Okay,
where you think that's
interesting.
going, and it goes a little bit of a different direction.
Interesting. Okay.
I love it. I think sometime soon, either you guys got to give it a watch, or maybe we'll watch it on the show. We'll
What
see.
did you catch that on?
It's on HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's you don't have to rent it or anything like that. It's been a movie I've kept hearing from other movie podcasts that I listen to. Another more casual one, I'm sure super filmy ones haven't maybe watched this as much, but I absolutely loved it. I came in, if you guys want to update my top 10 list, I think I put it at number 6 or 7. But it was really, really good.
All right,
I
shout
highly
out there.
recommend it.
I'll try
Yeah,
that.
it did.
Yeah, I'll
It really did. I
Okay.
think I placed it at number 6 after Dark Knight.
I think if it makes the
Yeah,
top
we
10
should
list,
gotta
I think
be
we
one to
gotta
watch.
go. We gotta do it.
And yeah, you 3 haven't seen it. I think it's fantastic. So we'll give it a watch maybe sometime soon. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it and see.
For sure.
But I definitely recommend it for anybody listening that wants to check it out. All right, and then finally on to our main segment. Welcome to the main segment of the show, Arrival. 2016, starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye himself, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, I think is how you actually
Villeneuve?
pronounce it. I don't know. Who
yeah,
knows?
that's
Who
a
knows?
lot.
I made that sound a lot more condescending than I meant to.
And then writers are Eric Heiserer. And then you did the screenplay, and it's based off of a short story book, Story of Your Life, written by Ted Chiang.
Yeah, so after last week, we're going to do basically the same structure, gang. So if you're just first time listening, this is kind of our review segment. We'll go over just kind of a little plot summary, generally taken from IMDb, and then we'll kind of give our first reactions, or immediate thoughts. This is all before any spoilers. We'll give you a choice. Would you recommend it? Would you not? Because there is no nuance on the internet.
The binary recommendation,
Yep.
yes or no.
And then after that, we'll hit spoiler warnings. Anyone that wants to listen on past that point can do so. And then we'll go a little bit deeper on our thoughts in the movie, and then see where it ranks on our entropy list.
Yes, the entropy list. We need an entropy list little jingle.
An entry list stinger.
Yeah.
Entry list
Yeah.
promo. Yeah,
I'm
we can come up with
gonna
something at some
contact
point.
some people and work on that.
Make it sound like
Fans,
lightning.
send us in. If you want to send us an entropy list. But yeah, so that's going to be kind of our things here. As always, we do warn there is a chance that we may spoil this early.
Also, again, 4-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and again,
go watch it.
Try to
Yeah.
watch these movies with us, but if not, just be warned.
So yeah, let's dive on in. So
Sure.
the IMDb summary is very short on
It's
this
very
week.
short.
So it basically
So why don't we
says,
do the IMDb summary for the non-spoiler part, and then we can kind of fill in the blanks for the spoiler part.
yeah, so it says a linguist works with military to communicate with alien life forms after 12 mysterious spacecraft appear around the world. So basically there's a lot of these big kind of half-egg shaped spacecraft that show up in weird spots around the world. No one can really figure out why they're there. And the movie follows Amy Adams' character, who is sent in to try and communicate and make contact with these guys.
Pretty good, I would say that. And then Jeremy Renner comes in. He's
a science half.
Yes, Amy Adams is the linguist. Jeremy Renner is the scientist.
Yeah, there's a few good actors
Forrest
and actors in there.
Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker's
Whitaker's
in
in
there.
there.
He's like
Yeah.
the Army sergeant.
Stolberg. So Blake, Tyler, and I have seen this film already.
This is my first watch.
Correct.
It's my first
So
viewing.
what are your immediate reactions?
My immediate reactions overall loved it.
Really?
Really liked it. Is it on my top 10 list? No. But it's definitely up there for one of my better sci-fi movies. I think it's a good mix of sci-fi and drama, where it takes itself pretty seriously for the most part. And I really liked it. The acting was good. The storyline was good.
Did you think it went the way you were expecting?
It did not at all. And so I will definitely talk about that in the non-spoiler part, but it did not go where I thought it was going.
Good.
Yeah.
And your guys' kind of
Sorry, before you hit.
Yeah.
I think those type of movies where it's not going where you're expecting, that's what sci-fi. That's when sci-fi.
Right,
is
that's
at
what
its best.
sci-fi should be.
Yes,
Right.
I think that's great for sci-fi. So sorry, continue.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I'm all in. I saw it the first time. It's one of those movies that kind of sends chills down your back.
Did you see it in theaters?
I did.
Did you see it in theaters as
I
well,
did.
Blake? Yeah, I caught it in theaters as well. I saw it in like the first row.
Yeah.
One of those ones where I was
Ooh.
laying back and it was just right in front of me. So it's a little bit similar to actually how we have it set it up in
Yeah,
our
a little bit.
apartment.
Especially from
Just
where
like-
you
Yeah,
sit.
especially because I lay on the couch kind of lengthwise, facing perpendicular to the screen. So
Yep.
I have that. I've just been recreating that experience since I saw this
Which is
originally.
great.
But yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I have some different takes, which I'll be to
Which
what I
is
originally
why we did
saw.
this. This is the interesting
Yeah.
part of it.
Right.
Yeah, so this is definitely a revisit for me. It stacks up a little differently in kind of the Denis Villeneuve list for me than where I thought it did. So I'm kind of excited to talk
Now,
about
what
that
other
a
stuff
little.
has he done that I might have heard of? Because
Uh,
I've heard of him, but I don't know if I've necessarily.
Yeah, so you did
He's
Prisoners,
done,
Prisoners, okay.
Prisoners, Sicario.
Okay.
Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, he
Oh,
did that.
he did
Okay,
do that.
love
Yeah,
that.
he did that as well.
That's one I have seen.
He also did one, Enemies, I think is his, or
Okay.
it's
Yeah, with
Enemies
Jake
or Double.
Gyllenhaal. Yeah,
Yeah, let me just-
yeah.
I mean, I can just click
He's
on
got a
his
great
IMDb.
list, though, man.
Yeah, he's doing the new Dune, which I'm very excited
I'm
about
excited
as
for
well.
that. I didn't know he was doing that,
Yeah, and Enemy was the other one I was thinking of.
Okay.
He's been
Yeah,
working.
I'm looking at his IMDb. Definitely.
Yeah, he's been working since the late '90s, early 2000s, but he really kind of came into his own with Prisoners. That's really where folks kind of got
Sure.
he came on the map. Unfortunately, he just seems to make movies that not a ton of people see on their first
Yeah.
release. I think Blade Runner 2049 was one of the best
Oh, it was.
movies of 2017.
Oh, for sure.
It's up there for me overall, but yeah, and Arrival's really great too.
Yeah, no, I like The Arrival a lot. Ty? We already got Ty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check.
Blake,
I'm
sorry.
in on it. This was in my top 10.
So recommend for me,
yeah.
recommend for
Yeah.
Ty, recommend for Blake.
Definitely recommend for me.
All right.
There's your binary ones and zeros, everybody.
So spoiler time. So at that point, Amy Adams does make pretty easy contact with the aliens.
Yeah,
Turns out they're these kind of giant hand octopus deals.
Heptapods.
Yes.
7 legs. I forgot what the other parts of it was, but yeah, 7 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole, it really takes this really interesting idea, which is how do you communicate with aliens, and that's really the reason why Amy Adams brought in. I never thought about this before.
Yeah, I love
Never, and I like it just alone for like they didn't weaponize like the aliens, right? And it's funny to say weaponize because
Yes.
they say that so much in there, you know.
Yeah,
but
they try to
they're
make
not
it.
there taking over the world.
Yeah,
you know?
so
And
a lot of the central problem or climax or issue in the story is basically lost in translation.
Yeah.
Is the aliens are trying to say that we are going to give you something to the world, and you see the world has been split up into these kind of different areas where the aliens have congregated. So you have a Japanese contingent, you have a Chinese contingent, you have a
There's
Russian
12
contingent.
Australian.
Pakistan.
Yep. There's
And-
12 different ships.
And so each one kind of has one in their country, and so you see this back and forth kind of political game that everyone's playing. And like we were talking about, the kind of crux of it is how are these people interpreting what these aliens are saying? And at some point, someone mistakes the word gift or tool for weapon.
Weapon.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yep.
how that kind of sends these shockwaves through there. Which I thought was really, really interesting. An interesting take. The kind of big reveal is that the gift is the
Is the
alien's
language.
language.
Yeah.
Which I liked. a
Which
lot.
is, which turns it on its head, and it's kind of this, by interacting with the aliens, you are in some way changed. And once you
Correct.
learn their language, you actually experience time differently.
Which I thought was
Right.
very. I think the only people. Actually, I don't know how many of you read this, but Slaughterhouse 5. Have you guys read that?
I have not read Slaughterhouse 5.
No. So Slaughterhouse 5. Quick synopsis there. It's about a guy who's jumping through time because these aliens abducted him, and they're showing him how time works as like a mountain range.
Sure.
And you can jump to different points on that mountain range as different points in time. And that's kind of the analogy they use there. That's the vibe I got from this movie.
Yeah, I got definitely True Detective vibes with the way the aliens kind of write their language is these big circular, almost ink blots.
Yeah,
And I just think
it's-
time is a
it's
flat circle
very-
every
so, like,
time.
Yeah.
That was one of my points. There's always like this kind of psyche game they're trying to play with you, which really gets you involved into the movie. And I think the whole point of their language looking like that is like a Rorschach test.
Sure. Yeah.
Which I thought was really,
I definitely
really
got
cool.
vibes from that one every time they threw it up. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's not a take that I had on there, but I'm interested in it. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that idea.
That would
quite
take a
bit.
rewatch for me to see what the symbols mean correlation-wise.
Yeah. So did the twist affect you? Because they actually start seeding the twist very early on in the
Yes.
film.
I
where you-
absolutely love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you-
when the big reveal comes that she's been time traveling basically the whole time, I love
Right,
that. 'Cause
experieing visions.
Right.
in
Yeah.
Well,
that
yeah,
time.
so that's
She-
the other
it's-
cool part. The more she learns this language, the more she starts having these flashbacks, but they're actually flash forwards.
basically.
And that's how they are perceiving time by teaching her the language.
And
the
as
more
a
she
viewer,
learns-
you're not sure if she's dreaming. You're not
I
sure. if
Right,
I
exactly.
mean, as a first-time watcher, I like the opening scene is, or the opening little cuts is of her baby being born, and then seeing her grow up, and then her kid dying. And I just assumed that was supposed to be backstory for the character, and it turns out no, that ties into the whole thing at the end of she's
Right.
just
Yeah, it starts to
considered
make a
future.
very interesting comment on how we experience film as well, and that we naturally, the kind of structuralist theory is that you start to read films based on the amount of films that you've experienced. So we have a kind of natural understanding of where things are supposed to go with the film. We kind of very easily follow that natural bell curve, and
It plays with that.
that is what affects us every time we go into a film. So sometimes if you're watching like an action movie, The Avengers is a very famous example of this, where you start to feel a drag in the middle. It's because you've kind of been conditioned to, at an hour and 30 minutes into the movie,
to feel a drag.
there's typically an action scene.
Yeah.
The Avengers doesn't have that action scene in there, so a lot of times people feel like that movie drags in the middle because we've kind of
Yep.
been used to these same
Conditioned almost.
same
Pre-conditioned.
storytelling device. So I think it's really, really smart. It definitely speaks to Villeneuve's decisions as a director and the writing as well. Obviously,
Yes.
this is an adaptation, so there is a base storyline that they're working off of.
Do you know? Because I tried to look at this after I saw the movie. I saw that it was written from or based on a book. Do you know how closely this ties?
I have
into
no
the
idea.
book?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not gone that far in the research.
Because I liked it so much, I started researching that kind of stuff, but I couldn't tell. The book is just a bunch of short stories, but this is definitely one long story, so I don't know if this is one of those short stories or what.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Maybe something worth kind of digging a little deeper on later. But
Yeah.
But I've talked a lot now. Someone else talk.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say to your point, you said like the twist at the end where you realize that she's seen flash forwards, and that kind of goes to the point in the movie where they mention like you only perceive things of the language you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, you
So,
think
like,
in the language you know.
exactly. Right.
Yeah,
So-
and it changes how you perceive the world.
Right. So then once she starts to understand the language more, then she's starting to realize like, okay, these aren't memories because that's the only way we can
Perceive
recollect
time,
stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah. So it's great. Like I said, I love it.
I think it ties. The storyline ties so well together.
Yeah.
It's a very small story, which I don't which I didn't remember the first time, and that actually kind of shook me on the rewatch and made me kind of reconsider the film a little bit. In that it really is a small cast, not a huge scope to the alien invasions that we're normally seeing. And it's not really even an alien invasion. It's more an alien visitation or something.
Yeah.
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, most of the shots are in that ship, right? And
Either
and on
either
base.
in the room or in
I
one
love
of the
this. I
tents.
love this.
Yeah.
set
Yeah,
piece
so
there.
you want to talk about the ship, that particular shot where they actually arrive in the ship themselves.
The first time
It's
they have that
super good,
gravity
yeah.
Where they
change.
grab each
Yeah,
other.
so if
Yeah.
you haven't seen the movie, there's to enter the ship, they actually have to go up a scissor lift, and
Yep.
then it's basically one long tunnel, and about halfway through the tunnel, the gravity shifts 90 degrees so that you jump up and then you land on one of the walls and are walking completely
But
correctly.
you're basically walking up a wall.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Correct. But to them it would feel like a corridor.
And
essentially.
I was really interested in seeing how Villeneuve set up those shots, and if at any point I ever felt like they're just standing on the side of a wall and in there. And there's some areas where he would actually see the ground in the background of the shot.
Okay.
But for the most part, he does a really good job of kind of separating those two areas, which
I
kind of
think-
puts you at a sense of unease with the aliens.
Yeah.
It's very simple techniques, but it's very interesting choice.
What kind of sets it up a little bit for how advanced these aliens are? Because you know right off the bat they can change gravity.
That's a great point.
And all bets are off from there, and that's why they feel so threatened. Is they are clearly way more advanced than us, and they set that up very well. Where it's like we don't know how they're communicating, we don't know how they're getting around, we don't know any of this
Right,
stuff.
without blowing up the White House or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah, it's like we don't know any of this stuff, and we are so perplexed. And then you get to the ship, and as a viewer, you're kind of prepared to be weirded out. But then the first thing, before you even see the aliens, gravity is thrown to the walls, and it's, like literally, and it's just like that was very, very cool. I like that.
I think another way that they explain it is the whole point of them not coming here to give violence off. I think that's another form of saying they're more evolved. There's been plenty of stories in the past where an evolved form of us is just peaceful.
Right.
And I
Sure.
think that's another way that it's showing how mankind has not gotten there yet.
And
Because
that's
our
it.
immediate thing is to shoot them out of the sky.
Well, and they say mankind helps us in 300 years.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it's
3,000.
3,000 years, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think that, to your point, Tyler, they do even kind of directly say that. It's like, we have to work together to that's kind of maybe what their point is, or their gift is, that we have to, actually start making peace and stuff like that. And they bring up the UN a few times, and then...
Is this a Star Trek prequel?
Let's hope. Let's hope it's all in the same
Because
universe.
you know how they're always, like, Picard's always like, humanity has evolved past the
Yeah.
need for violence. And
Yeah.
like,
That's why we built giant starships.
yeah. I'd be interested to see if
There's a tie-in.
There's
Yeah.
one plot line where it just turns into Star Trek.
Yeah, that'd
So
be great.
let me ask you guys this: was that one of your guys' favorite shots when they're first going up into the ship?
That's definitely one of mine.
I think that really sets up the eeriness factor
Yes.
of aliens.
Their first
I
encounter
remember
is very
one of like
strange, yeah.
my first experience with aliens was Signs.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, there's a scene where
That
the alien
scared
walks
the shit out of
through
me.
an alley, and it's shot on this very handy cam style, so it's very blurry. It's exactly how you would have seen it like in the 90s when that's kind of shot in. And yeah, it definitely gave you that kind of chills down the back, like I'm uncomfortable because the gravity is changing kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So
It's such a simple technique.
It really
it's,
is.
It's the unease that they're able to generate in this film with such simple techniques is
Yeah.
very, very impressive.
Just the size of scale when
And
they
I think-
first introduced the ship or the shell or whatever you want.
Yeah, and I think Villeneuve has proven that with Sicario and with Prisoners that he's a master of tension already. So it belies his skill as a director.
Yeah. Now, there are a few problems I do have with this movie that I feel like if they shifted a little bit or changed, could have aided it a little bit. Or not necessarily that they would have aided it, but I mean, just small problems that I have.
Sure.
I think the part where the soldier commits martial, what do they call it? Treason, basically. It disobeys orders and goes, the little rogue squad sets explosives in the ship. That felt a little weird to me.
It's not one of they needed to speed the action along. It feels like it almost feels like that perhaps this was a longer film and that we built to the point where all the different political states go dark in a different way, and perhaps the studio came in and said like, hey, we need to get here quicker. How are you going to do that? And they came up with this almost little side. Like I said, it feels that way to me. I'm not saying that in any way is what happened, but for as well cooked as the rest of the film is, this kind of side story of these malcontent military folks who try and blow up.
So this is something I can bring up with that point. Is I was talking about this movie earlier with my brother, who's over today, and he said that China was not the original villain or whatever you want to say.
Because they're the first to go dark.
Yeah, so they were not the original major plot point that they were. They changed it to China so that the movie was more popular in China. Because they kind of end up being the hero at the end when he changes his mind. That apparently they changed that to make it more appealing.
Now, did you think when watching it? Do you think that he had been able to speak to the aliens as well, and that was why he kind of had this ability to look
Chinese?
The Chinese general who goes through it. Because I wondered if basically he's also kind of been able to.
I don't think so. I just only because I don't think the general will be the one going into the shell, and I think. I don't
because he says like you said the call that changed my mind or something like that because the kind of climax of the film is that she actually calls the general and says his dead wife's name or something like that.
She says the last words that his wife said to her, which
proves to him that she's able to speak
perceive time
to speak to the things because he's given her that hint in the future. So that kind of set me up to think that maybe he was able to.
I didn't get that from my watching, but possibly.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's why movies
the only
are
reason
awesome.
I think they put the explosive scene in there is to really kind of make sure that there was some kind of conflict.
Sure.
Very early on, I think that they make it very clear how smart Amy Adams' character is. She makes up that story about the kangaroo.
I love that part.
And I thought it was incredible because that just shows you A, how quick she is on her feet, but B, that she's already very intellectual in the fact that she perceives things incredibly different than anybody else in the room. So yeah, I think they almost made it seem like she was doing this too easily because every time she goes up there, she makes progress. And it made it look like all the other sections weren't making as much progress as we were.
Correct.
But yeah, I think they had to throw that in there for some kind of conflict.
No, I do.
That's a great point.
Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
I was like, I love how, like you said, their first encounter was so quick, and then they get back, and then Forrest Whitaker's character is like, so do you know what they're saying? And she's like, well, we need to figure out if they understand a question, what you know what I mean?
See what she breaks down the
I love that.
It's like, what is your
idea.
purpose?
Now that's something I would say that I was going to add is I would have loved if they had more linguistic talk because there's a very quick cut and they kind of make this jump. I get why they had to make the story make sense, but they spent it seems like 2 weeks almost talking to these aliens every day or every 18 hours or whatever it is. And kind of Jeremy Renner, instead of covering those 18 weeks, kind of just sums it up in about 2 minutes of narrative. Of narration, and I would have loved if they expanded those 2 weeks out and it was like, okay, we learned this from this session and it's them analyzing it because he talks for about 2 minutes and I loved every minute of it where he was talking about different and linguists call it orthodont or whatever it was. I don't know what words he used. They were fancy, but I loved that part and I think if they expanded a little bit more, I would have liked that a lot more. But I get why they had to shorten that up and get the story along.
Yeah. Well, the movie's runtime it's not that long. I was surprised.
I remembered it being
2
longer.
hours.
It didn't feel that long.
Yeah, I remembered it being longer.
Yeah. So when I looked at it, it only said like an hour 53 or something like that. I was like, wow, I could have sworn it was way longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel all that long though.
Yeah, it's kind of got good pacing, but
Yeah, he was also he did Prisoners in 2013, Enemy in 2013, Sicario in 2015, Arrival in 2016, Blade Runner 2049 in 2017. So this dude was working for like 4 years straight, basically. So I wonder if that may have had something to do with it.
Potentially.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I put this for my Denny list. I've got Prisoners number 1, Blade Runner pretty much tied with it. Then I think Sicario, and then probably Arrival. Yeah. Just because I'm much more of those thriller guys. The sci-fi, when I like my sci-fi, I think Blade Runner 2049 is a perfect film for
fantastic.
that. But overall, I really, really enjoy this film. This guy hasn't made a bad film, in my opinion.
Absolutely not.
No.
And I know he ranks high on Blake's list. I think 3 of those movies are on there.
Yeah,
so.
I think I'm with you, though. I put Prisoners as his number 1.
Sure.
For sure. And then I definitely have Arrival probably after Sicario. But
have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
So just in the 4th slot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we could discuss that another time.
Yeah.
I do like it though. He hasn't put out a bad movie.
How do you guys feel about Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner in this? I feel like they have good chemistry. How do you feel about the performances? Performance-wise?
I think I don't buy Jeremy Renner as a scientist.
No,
every time I see Jeremy Renner on screen, I just think of Hawkeye.
Yep.
Every single time.
And I think that's almost his own fault because he's almost as big a personality outside film as he is inside film too. He's a wild character. So
I liked Amy Adams in this movie. I don't know if it's her best performance, but I think she's overall sold me pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Amy Adams is awesome.
Yeah, no, I love her a lot, and like I said, she's very good in this movie. I just don't think this is her best performance by any means. Yeah. Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to mention?
Would you get in the pod?
Which pod? Oh, the pod that sends down? Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so
that was probably my favorite shot of the movie is when she's talking to Costello. And in the other side of the glass in the fog or whatever. That was such a cool shot. I love that.
How did you guys feel on when you first realized that they're bigger than just the 7 legs?
Oh, I knew that. I kind of knew that from the beginning.
Yeah,
I kind of knew that from the beginning because the fog never really shows the top of them that clearly. So I knew from the beginning they're probably a lot longer than they're given on. In fact, I almost thought at the beginning that maybe those were just 2 hands connected to one giant thing.
Right.
So I kind of knew from the beginning that maybe they were bigger. They never showed them until you get to the pod scene and she's inside, and I wasn't super shocked by it, but I did like how they made it.
I was surprised with how much when I think it's Costello or Abbott, whichever one's left goes, the other one's in
Costello.
The death process.
Yes, that was
like,
Abbott.
I
kind of felt for that. I was like, Abbott, no!
like
Too soon, man.
Like the
Too
death
soon.
process. Something about that phrase really really
And I
affected
think I like that phrase though because it's definitely something that would be lost in translation.
Yeah, it's not perfect. It's this kind of weird workaround that they have.
Well, because you're reading it as Amy Adams, and of course her translation is death process. I mean, it's like a rough translation.
Well, and you
of what
wonder
the
with
term
these
actually
beings
is.
that are able to perceive time like this, they've got to have the idea that death is a process and not really just a limit, an end or anything like that. Right. You kind of wonder what that's like.
I think that's like a really good way to see how big this language is. Like this develops from an American language, a Spanish language, a Chinese language, and so you're coming up with this phrase that is very lateral for everybody to understand. And I think that's one of those other things that really carries into the movie.
Yeah. All right. Entropy list.
I think this is above Staten
Definitely
Island.
above Staten
Without a
Island. I think that's unanimous.
Yeah.
So we got Arrival and King of Staten Island number 2, and we'll keep adding to that as we watch more and more movies.
If you disagree, tweet.
If you disagree, tweet, Instagram, email, do all of those fun things. If you want to contact us in any way, look at that transition.
That was good. That was a great segue.
I'm getting
That's
better
your phone,
and better.
not
Body, yeah, that is my phone. Anyway, show plugs. So if you do want to contact us on Twitter, we are still at Banter Row. Still deciding if you want to change it or not. We might end up just keeping it. We'll see. But right now we're at Banter Row on Twitter. YouTube, we're just at Back Row Banter. We're able to get that tag. Instagram. We just got Instagram as of like 2 hours ago, right before the show. Nathaniel was like, let's start one up. And I was like, all right. And I gave him the email. So Instagram is Back Row Banter Pod, and Back Row Banter Pod is at gmail.com is where you can find us for emails if you want to contact us for any comments, concerns, questions, anything you guys want answered or want to tell us.
And so I promised last week if you rate the pod on a 5-star review in
yes, the new segment
in Apple Podcasts, you can do it in app. It's very simple, guys. If you rate it 5 stars, I will read out anything you say. It can be mean things. It can be nice things. We prefer if it was nice things.
Yeah, but we will read the mean thing that
as long-
someone left for me.
As long as
I
it's 5
laughed
stars.
so hard at.
As long as it's 5 stars, I will read it out. So here you go. From a friend of ours who's works with us, whose name's Dabla. She left a review under the name Turkish Delight. It says, great podcast, yurt.
Let's go.
If you want to explain yurt a little bit, Tyler.
Yeah, you might
'cause
hear that a few times.
I believe this
Yes.
is kind of your catchphrase. that you
Yeah, I
started.
would say this is mine. It's not something I came up with. In like the East Coast, like New York area, you heard came into one word, and they actually don't pronounce it with a hard T. It's usually just a Y-U-R, like your. But I put a T on there because I don't know, I'm Midwest. So yeah, it developed into yurt.
Famous tea in the Midwest.
So yeah, and
like the tent.
like everybody I know, if they see me, they just yell yurt. Under any context, that's my thing.
Or it's more of a yurt sometimes.
There's a triple R in there.
There
100%.
yeah.
There's a lot of R's.
This is like yurt is like our circle language.
Yeah, very similar.
I was trying to make my way to
Yeah, there you go.
a rival joke.
God, just step
There
on
we
Blake's
go.
toes there.
Yeah, sorry.
So another one, simply titled Yurt.
Let's go.
Love the podcast, 5 stars from Alex K. Peach. Thank you very much. And then the one that interests Aishi Boy here the most is titled A1. And it's from a person that says a grown-up who knows. That's their title. And the review is, love the lists, but don't know if I can trust anyone who confuses Spock with Eli Roth. Come on, grow up.
So here's the thing.
So if you're a first-time listener, last week
thing.
Aish had forgotten that the role of the Bear Jew in Inglourious Basterds was played by Eli Roth and not Zachary Quinto. And now, take it away, Aish.
Here's the thing.
Defense.
I could have edited that out. But
True,
I left
you wore
in.
it. You wore it.
I wore it
Yeah,
on my
100%.
sleeve. I owned up to that,
That's
and
good.
I understand that was probably a dumb thing. But I feel like we've all done that.
Everyone's
before.
had those.
Absolutely.
mistakes.
Everyone's had those movies, and yes, it's a
100%.
bigger movie. If it's on my top 10 list, I should know who's in it. Yes,
Sure.
But
Hey,
at the
I
same
forgot one of mine. I forgot the country one of mine was from.
yeah,
so.
exactly. So, and the other thing, I feel like Zachary Quinto and Eli Roth, I think we agreed, have a passing resemblance in that role.
A glance resemblance. Sure.
But I feel like that
If I
was
saw
an
them
acceptable mistake.
From behind in the rain with my eyes closed, I probably think.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. The last part I would like to get to is you say grow up in your review. I don't know how knowing Zachary Quinto from Eli Roth has anything to do with maturity or anything like
Grow
that.
up, Adam.
No, I agree. Grow up.
I did. Actually, I'm 20
You
now.
turned 20.
I
You
was
worked on
19.
it over the
I
week.
did.
Grow
I
up.
worked on it over the week. It was 6 days straight of hard training, and Saturday I said, "All right, Eli Roth, new favorite actor." And here
And
we
I'm
are.
20.
And I'm 20. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Eli Roth as a director? Have you guys seen any of those? Like the Hostels? I think
For
he's
me,
made
he
those.
is always at the mercy of his script.
Yeah.
Whatever his script is belies his kind of skill in it. I think I was just really disappointed in Green Inferno, and I was so hyped for it. But overall, I mean, I think he's a pretty important character in the kind of mid to late thousands horror genre, definitely.
Yeah.
Have you seen any Eli Roth movies?
I've seen Inglourious Bastards.
Man, me and Blake are gonna take you on a horror
Yeah.
journey.
For sure.
Horror journey.
Oh, he's a big horror guy?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
he's hostile.
Yeah, so he's been. Yeah, you've heard of the Hostels, right?
You've never heard of Hostile?
I feel like I've probably heard
Yeah,
of
this was one that was famous when we
Yeah,
grew up. It
I-
was the first of kind of the torture porn genre.
Yeah, it's like
torture
that,
porn.
Saw, all those things are, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that's probably.
No, I'm down to, like I said,
Check out
I'm
some
down to go
something
on
like
this
that.
track. I mean, obviously I need to watch more Eli Roth since I can't tell him apart from Zachary.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's gonna be a busy October for the Back Row boys.
Can't wait for fall.
Whoever wrote that review, I do appreciate the listening, and I know it was all in good fun. Hopefully, if you're actually mad at me, you can email me or find me on Twitter.
If you want to be featured next week and hear my dulcet voice read out.
We'll figure out a name for this segment.
Yeah, 5 stars. That's all you need, folks.
Yeah, that's all you need. All right, moving on to personal plugs here. Nathaniel, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Twitter and Letterboxd at nsgingrich. That is Gingrich.
Sorry, did I pronounce your name right at the beginning of the show?
I don't even remember. It doesn't matter.
It's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so NS Gingrich, Gingrich, and you can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. My name is spelled with IEL. That's the end of my spiel.
Spiel's over. Tyler?
Everything as far as Instagram, I did get a Letterboxd and I got a Twitter.
Tyler, moving up
stepping
in
on my
life.
game. I really haven't done anything with them yet, but baby steps. All of those are all just Tyler Vidalis, Vidales.
You were able to get just Tyler Vidalis.
I was
on all 3.
One of a
Yes, sir,
kind,
in
baby.
2020.
Interesting name, man.
Wow.
And then the only other thing you can find me on is Twitch every now and then. It's El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87.
Alrighty. Blake?
Cool. So it'll go over to me. You can find me on Letterboxd, so I'll just log all the movies I see in there. Looks like the next one we're going to do is... Greyhound, right? That's on Apple TV.
Do you review your movies on Letterboxd? I just kind of log them.
I just kind of log them.
well.
I think I'm going to try to start reviewing them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I might do as well.
It's
Hard
hard
though.
though.
It take too much time.
I think we're
yeah.
obligated now.
Yeah.
We're
Just
stars.
yeah, I mean, there's not like a limit on it, so it's just like a 3 or 4
Yeah.
sentence shout out. What
Oh,
you
yeah.
got and let it go.
My brother, what he does is, I think he does like pros or cons, or he does bullet points or something. Just main
Right.
takeaways.
Something quick.
Yeah.
So follow us on there if you want to hear more of us, folks.
Yeah, I am on Twitter at amschwartzy or at Aish, and then Letterboxd is at Aish, also on Twitch. At
Spell H for me, man.
AYYSH. The entry list is also on my Letterboxd if you wanted to keep that for posterity reasons or refer to that. I can just give that to you right now. It's Arrival number 1, King Sad Island number 2. It doesn't get much longer than that.
But keep a weather eye, folks.
Yes, give us 10 or so weeks and we'll get it up there.
Yeah.
We'll
I
get
have
it
a
up there.
funny feeling Arrival's still going to be number 1 after next week.
I also have a funny feeling, but
That
the
blind
best- that's the
spotting
best
sounds
part
like
of
it might
this,
be the one that's
That might be able to
really
give it a run for its
Ooh,
money.
yeah,
Bit
I
of
think it
sizzle.
will.
Bit of sizzle for the next few weeks, gang.
It'll sizzle. Our hot take segment. Oh, we need so many jingles.
Just hot takes.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week for Greyhound. We'll BRB.
BRB, gang, right back.
BRB.
Or Back Row Banter, not be right back. It's the wrong abbreviation, dumbass.
Back Row Banter.
BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
All right, we ready to go?
Yeah.
Let me slip into something a little more comfortable.
A little more.
Do you want me to tell them they're gonna be more quiet? No, I don't care.
I just can't tell if that's coming up or not. Just because I have
People,
the
if
volume.
you hear the other folks in the house, we're sorry. We love you, but we're sorry. Deal with it.
I can literally tell them to trim it down a notch.
I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it'll be fine.
Really
That's
don't
fine.
care. I think it'll be fine.
We'll put that at the end of the show. People be listening to the whole thing like, what the fuck was that in the background? And then a little disclaimer at the end.